Man, listen. This is the Tuesday. Wait, what's it called? The Toker Talk Tuesday podcast. That's how you know I'm high as shit already. I don't even know the name of my own damn podcast. But anyways, it's your boy Ro here with the Toker Talk Tuesday podcast on another fine Tuesday with all you beautiful ladies and gentlemen. And tonight I actually prepared. I was actually prepared this time. I'm kind of proud of myself. I actually wrote down some topics of stuff that I wanted to talk about. Just stupid shit that I think about throughout the week, like this one. I'm starting to think that dark-skinned people, I don't know why, for the longest time dark-skinned people have been put to shame for being dark. It's always like the butt of the joke, like, damn, this fool is dark as shit. Está bien prieto lo que le dicen. And I think with all this global warming and the ozone layer starting to disappear, people that are dark skinned are going to be the ones laughing eventually, because they're going to be the only ones that actually have natural skin protectant against the sun whenever the ozone ain't here no more. And then it's going to be bad to be light skinned, because then you're going to be getting sunburnt all the time. Like, have you ever seen like the redhead, the really, really pasty people, whenever they go out like working in the middle of the summer or at the beach, they always turn red. They look like a crawfish or a lobster. That's how all light skinned people are going to be. Even the light skinned Mexicans, the light skinned black people, they're all going to be getting sunburnt because there ain't going to be no ozone layer to protect us, because we don't want to go away from different fuel sources, because the oil companies are out there advertising their bullshit and paying scientists off, and then putting out their damn commercials for people that they know aren't doing their goddamn research. And that's why we're not going to go away from fossil fuels, because the oil company, the man, doesn't want you to know that there is other alternative energy sources out there. Like, we could hook up Lance Armstrong to a bike, and I'm pretty sure that fool could power a whole goddamn city just by, pedaling. We could just hire him anytime there's a hurricane or something, or a natural disaster to where there's no energy going to that city. Just bring in Lance Armstrong. Maybe it'll make up for him cheating. I'm just kidding. Everybody on that damn tour was cheating, is apparently what I hear. But anyways, yeah, I actually prepared this time. I'm kind of happy. I wrote down some fucking topics, and I'm doing a motherfucking podcast again, because it's Tuesday and I'm high as shit. I even brought me a little bit of weed just in case, my high goes down. Should I be admitting that on a podcast? And that's just going to be legal anyways, across all 50 states, because that shit's coming. Everybody knows that shit's coming. Weed, everybody's gonna get high, man. Everybody's gonna get fucking high. From New York to Los Angeles, man, we're all gonna be smoking bud. It's gonna be peace on earth, man. We're all just gonna sit around in the drum circle. We're gonna be playing the drums, and then passing the J, passing the joint with the devil's cabbage, or whatever the fuck they call it. I think that shit's coming. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet, because you could just tax that shit, and then you could use that tax money. That's what fucking Colorado's doing anyways. How much revenue have they been bringing in with all that taxing on the weed, where they get all the tourists, all the freaking potheads from the neighboring states to go in there and spend their money, and then they tax them? That's fucking smart. That's what we need to be doing. We need to do that with all the Canadians and the Mexicans and everybody that likes to smoke weed. Just come to the United States, man. They already want to come over here anyways. Just let them get high as shit. So, when I die, I want to be a tree. And that's not, like the Hindu type thing to where, once you die, you can reincarnate into something else, like a chihuahua, a doom bug, or whatever, depending on your karma. I seen something on Facebook a while ago to where you could get your ashes or something like that, and they plant like a seed in your ashes or something like that, and then the tree comes out of your dead body. It's like a little, like, think of it like a pot, like a clay pot, but you're the clay pot because you got burnt and they made mud and concrete out of you. I think I didn't look into it. I just seen the video. I was scrolling through my timeline and I seen when you die you can become a tree. I was like, this is interesting, I want to know more. And I clicked on the video. It was like a little 3-minute video. I watched it, and that's what I want to do. Cause what if that whose law of energy is that? To where energy isn't destroyed nor created, it's only transformed or something like that. What if that's really true, you know? What if after you die, your energy just becomes another form of life? Is that what Hindus think? I've never talked to one. I don't know. Maybe I should Google it one day. But that's what I want to do. I want to become a tree. Because how cool would that be to live for like 100, 200 years? Because some of them trees live to be really old. Like the sequoia trees over there in California. I just had a homeboy that went over there for vacation. And they said some of those trees were like 2,500 years old. I was like, holy shit. Them trees are older than Jesus, if you believe in Jesus. But them trees are old as shit. And could you imagine being a sequoia tree, living for 2,500 years old? And what if you're conscious the whole time you're being a tree? And you're just sitting there growing and you're watching the whole world just, you know, live on and do what it does. And you're just there being a tree, just photosynthesizing and shit. And you live to be 2,500 years old, to one day a president decides that you're not important anymore, and then they let people cut you down and make you into furniture. Could you imagine if you were conscious being a tree? Especially one of those sequoia trees, you're over there getting cut for like freaking 40 minutes with the fucking saw, just and it's cutting you, and you're over there just yelling in your tree voice, just ah, 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 for like 40 fucking minutes while they're cutting you. And I don't think you would die instantly being a tree, because whenever you're a human and you get like cut, you don't die instantly. You have to bleed out. Like, is the sap tree blood? I'm pretty sure it's not. But that's a good question. And what if it was? Because in my story or whatever I just created, it would have to be. Because if you are the tree, then that means that would have to be your tree blood. But yeah, 2,500 years to become furniture. That'd be kind of cool though, living to see 2,500 years just pass by. Just seeing how the world changes within that time period. Like, do you think trees would even notice us? Like, you don't pay attention to a fruit fly, and fruit flies only live, like, what is it, like 2 or 3 days or something like that? Some short and, like, insane short period of time for a whole life. Would trees even notice us like that? Like, people don't notice the life of a fruit fly. It just kind of appears a little bit and then it's gone, and then that's it. Like, you don't watch it be born from its fruit fly parents, and then you don't watch it take its first little flight, and then you see its fruit fly parents back there going, yeah, that's our baby fruit fly. Or do they die before they're born? I don't know. But you don't see that, you know, that whole progression of life with the fruit fly. You just encounter it once, and that's your whole interaction with that fruit fly, and you don't know how long it lives. You think that trees are that way with us, and they just live to be 2,500 years old, and they just encounter us once, and that one encounter could be their demise because we cut them. I don't know. That's just some high shit for you. That's some shit to smoke and ponder over. Okay, let's see what else we got here. That was a pretty good little rant that I did. Die and become a tree. That's all I fucking wrote. Die and become a fucking tree. Okay, so I'm still working at Home Depot. I'm not proud of it, but I'm about to quit. I don't know if it's a good idea. I hope it's a good idea. Cause like I have a plan. I'm somewhat executing it. Sometimes I'm lazy. Sometimes I feel like I could be doing more. But other times it's kind of hard because I'm trying to do so much at once while I'm still balancing all this other shit. But I do kind of have a plan. I forgot where I was going with this. Anyways, yeah, I'm still working there. I don't like it. And one of the other things that I remember that I don't like about it, because while I'm at work, that's kind of all I do is think about why I don't like this job. And that's probably not a good mentality to have while at work. But I can't help it, you know? That being said, I can't stand how people assume that you're an expert in whatever aisle or whatever, in front of whatever product it is that they find you in front of. Like if you're working, you know, in the back to where you're just moving boxes and stuff, and they find you around the toilets, they expect you to be an expert everything toilet. They're like, does this toilet fit on my little hole that I have in the floor? Because it's a 1-inch hole, and this one says that it's a 3-inch hole, but I don't know if that really means that it won't be able to fit, or can I find an adapter? Would it leak? Like, bitch, I don't fucking know. I'm trying to get back to my job. Let me help you find somebody, and nobody's ever fucking there. That's just fucking annoying. Like, why do you assume I'm an expert? Why can't you ask me, excuse me, do you work in this department? No, I don't, but I'll be glad to find somebody that does. But y'all don't ask that. Y'all just sit there and assume he is here, so he knows every single thing about here, about everything that's in this vicinity. He knows about the toilets, he knows about the water heaters, he knows about the fucking lines, he knows about the little couplings, he knows about the valves. Like, bitch, I don't know none of that shit unless I got a piece of paper in front of me telling me where to find it. That's the only way I could know something about it. And then people don't bother to look up because I don't know if people have ever noticed this, but there are signs typically in larger corporate retail stores that give a vivid description on what you might find in that aisle. But I don't know if people don't read, I don't know if people don't want to look up, but they're always asking us stuff that has a label for that aisle describing what's going to be in that aisle and where to find it. Like if you need screws, okay, go to the aisle where it says screws. That's typically where we keep them. I could be wrong, but that's where I would look first before I start asking anybody where my screws are. That's just some retail courtesy for you guys. Speaking of that, I do have another job, which I will be more than happy to share with you guys. I am a bartender. And one thing that I'm noticing about bartending is how people like to stand in front of the bar. They don't really talk with other people or even try to approach like any females or nothing. It's just a whole bunch of guys standing in front of a bar, drinking, talking. Why? Can anyone answer that to me one day? If I ever get a listener, can somebody explain that to me? Why do guys just sit there in front of the bar talking and drinking? Like, shouldn't you be finding somebody to dance with or something to do other than clogging up my workspace area? Does that happen at every bar? Or do I just have that please hang out in front of me face? Is that what it is? I don't know. I think it's funny because people will order like girl drinks and expect me not to acknowledge that it's a girl drink. The way I acknowledge you ordering a girl drink is I put a cherry in it. That's some extremely passive aggressive shit, but it's funny. Like, people know, like, oh man, now I gotta be walking around with this drink that's got a cherry in it. That does not look masculine at all. Like, this guy orders a Malibu and pineapple, which everyone knows Malibu and pineapple is a girl drink. It's good, but it's a girl drink. So this big black dude came up to me and he asked me for a Malibu and pineapple. And I put the cherry in it. And he goes, nah, man. Don't be putting that cherry shit in there. I'm like, dude, it's kind of necessary. It's kind of part of the recipe. In order for it to be a proper Malibu and pineapple, it needs the cherry. In order for it to be a perfect Malibu and pineapple, it needs the little umbrella too. But people don't like it. People don't like you acknowledging their weirdities. That's going to be my new word, weirdities. People are weird as shit. Everybody's weird in their own way. Yeah, man. That's just things I'm noticing whenever I start working. People are weird in their own ways. And I think I'm weird too, because I'll just sit there and observe people, and then they'll do some funny shit, and I'll laugh. And I'm over there by myself, just laughing out of nowhere. I'm like, I wonder how this would look on the outside. I don't know if I'd be buying drinks from some guy who just starts laughing out of nowhere. The other day at work, while I was at Home Depot, I seen this. I noticed after I seen this guy who was a heavy set guy. Well, he was a fat guy. Let's just say it like that, because there's no need to sugarcoat it. He already has enough sugar-coated shit. He was a fat guy, and he was wearing athletic clothes. And what I noticed after I seen that, I was like, man, why do a lot of fat guys, you always see them in those sleeveless shirts? Like, they're not the tank tops, but they're the ones with the wide shoulder fabric. It's like a complete t-shirt, but just to where the shoulders are cut off. You always see them in that and the basketball shorts. Like, why do you buy athletic clothing? There's clearly nothing athletic about you. Like, is that the only things that fit? No, right? Because they have big and tall, like people that specialize in that shit now. So there should be no reason for them to be wearing only athletic clothing. It's just a little bit ironic. Like, if you actually use that clothes for its purpose, maybe you could fit into other stuff. Is that just me being ignorant and dumb? Yeah. But it's funny, because it's true. Because I was fat once, and nobody ever fucking sympathized with me. Nobody was ever being overly sympathetic coming to my defense, whatever. So don't give me shit whenever I'm on the other side being like, hee hee, fatty. Fuck you guys. None of y'all were there for me, assholes. Another thing I'm noticing is a fashion trend that's going on with girls with the nose rings. Like, a lot of girls are getting nose rings. I don't know why. And the things with like nose rings and a lot of piercings, a lot of those types of piercings, like the 18 different earrings on one ear and the other one just has one for whatever reason, or the ones on the lips and the ones on the cheeks, you have to be like almost perfect in order for you to pull that off. Like, you have to be like I don't know, like Megan Fox could probably pull off a nose ring. Like, Megan Fox could probably pull off those 8 rings on one ear. But the average chick, she's not pulling off that nose ring. She's not pulling off that little ball tickler. I don't know what it's called. The one that goes under your chin or under your lip. Not under your chin. Under your lip. And the ones that go on your cheeks too. Like, you have to be amazing to pull that off. Because other than that, you could be like an 8 and it's going to knock you down to like a 4. It just looks gross. Maybe that's just me. Maybe there's some guys that are turned on by that. But I just think it looks trashy. I don't know. The other thing is girls are starting to have boy haircuts. Like, it started off with what's her name? Miley Cyrus, right? Hannah Montana. She fucking got a buzz cut, and everybody was like, oh, she's going fucking crazy. Something about she's rebelling, or she's just showing who she truly is after all that Disney stuff or whatever. And then recently, Katy Perry got hers too. She got her little buzz cut, looking like Stan from that fucking Eminem music video. But I forgot where I was going with this. Oh yeah, I have a theory, and I could be totally wrong, or I could be 100% Nostradamus accurate and predictive with my theory. My theory is the following. I think that with all this gender bending stuff, like you see rappers wearing girl clothes and wearing purses and tights and leggings and blouses and shit, and you see girls with the guy haircuts like Miley Cyrus and Katy Perry and Amber Rose. They all have. Why does Amber Rose look like Caillou? Anyways, eventually, with all the gender bending appearances and the transgender movement with the gender fluidity or whatever, like, oh, a person can be whatever gender they feel. It's got nothing to do with genes or chromosomes or science or genetics or their body. Eventually, I think those two are going to merge. And I think in the future, everybody's going to look the same. Guys and girls are all going to look the same. And they're just going to wear like a jumpsuit to define their gender. So if you're a boy, you're going to be wearing a blue jumpsuit. Well, not really a jumpsuit, maybe like a leotard, because the future. And it seems like we're heading to less waste. So it could be a leotard. Could be a onesie. I don't know. It's going to be something to where it's just going to be all one color. It's going to be a romper. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be your blue romper for guys. And it's going to be a pink romper for girls. And if you decide one day that you're a boy and the next day you're a girl, you're just gonna put on that pink romper and people are gonna treat you like a girl. Is that transphobic? I don't think so. What does Twitter have to say about it? I don't have a Twitter, so you can't at me. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I do. Not yeah, I can. That's how you know I'm high as shit. That's twice in one podcast. Man, my stomach started to hurt. I got really high and I started getting the munchies, so I pigged out. Speaking of pigging out, ew, I'm gonna have to edit that out. Whatever happened to Oreos, the cereal? Like, they're bringing a whole bunch of this nostalgic type of shit from the 90s, like NWA, and they're trying to bring back those little goofy froze and shit, and Tommy Hilfiger, and Ja Rule. No, I'm kidding. But they're trying to bring back all this 90s shit. How come Oreos hasn't brought back the Oreo O's? Those were the best cereal ever, and all of a sudden they just stopped making them. They just advertised them. They made them for like 4 months in 1995, and all of a sudden they're just like, nope, no more. This cereal is too perfect. If we keep making and selling the cereal, this is going to be all somebody's diet, and they're going to die, and we're going to be liable. I think that's what happened. They just didn't want to be liable for somebody eating nothing but Oreo O's and dying because he didn't have a sufficient diet, a nutritional diet for him to survive. Speaking of people who don't want to survive, see, like, I'm just going down the list, and I'm just talking random bullshit. Like, that's all I wrote for the last one was Oreo O's, because I missed them. How come they still have the Reese's Pieces or the Puffs or the Reese's Puffs? That cereal. And that shit was whack. That's a garbage ass cereal. Nobody wants Reese's Puffs. I want my Oreo O's. It's milk's favorite cookie. Nobody eats Reese's with milk. The fuck is wrong with you? Jackasses. Speaking of jackasses, I was driving to work one day, and I was about to exit, and these guys are driving slow, so me being the asshole I am, I go around them, I speed around them. Well, not really speed, it was maybe like 5 miles above the speed limit. Anyway, I go around them, and there's this motorcycle that had previously been zooming around everybody. He was over there trying to be speed racer, and the second he goes to exit, I don't know why, he just lets off the gas. He's going really slow in the lane, so he's trying to get onto the next lane. So I'm like, alright, this guy's going really slow, maybe he's done being an asshole. So I try to go around him because I was running late, and this jackass speeds up. Like, I should have hit him. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt like hitting that bitch. Like, you little motherfucker, bow. Like, he had no fucking reason to do that other than to be a fucking asshole. And so me not doing what I should have done, which is just merge anyways and hit that little bitch, I hit my brakes and I go behind him. And what he does is he gets in front of me and he starts flicking me off like I'm the asshole. Like, fuck you. You started going really slow and I go around you. I speed up so I can go around you and not make you hit your brakes. And you speed up just to be a little bitch. So he's in front of me and he's swerving and he's flicking me off. I should have hit his back tire. Just give it a little bump. Watch that little bitch fly. And that made me think about those stickers that you always see on people. Watch for motorcycles or whatever. Like, sometimes it's not the driver's fault. Like, yeah, sometimes there's assholes out there texting and driving, not looking in their rearview mirrors before they switch lanes, just trying to switch lanes whenever. But there's also those types of assholes on motorcycles that are just swerving in and out of traffic, speeding and zooming, weaving in between the lanes, in between cars that are in lanes, and they're over there driving like assholes. And then they get in accidents and everybody's like, oh, why didn't you watch out for the motorcycle? It's like, I can't watch out for a motorcycle whenever he's on my right 1 second and then he swerves over to the left and decides to go in between me and this other person and he's driving like an asshole. I can't watch for that. Like, he's not supposed to be doing that either. So people on motorcycles need to be fucking respectful and not be assholes either. And I don't give a fuck who gets offended by that shit, because it's true. Just because you ride a motorcycle doesn't mean that I got to be cautious about you. You got to be cautious about you too. Jackasses. Some people are cool. Some people are, what's that word for it? Responsible motorcycle drivers. How can I not remember responsible? Some people are responsible motorcycle drivers, and some people are just assholes. So you can't just assume every time a motorcycle gets in an accident that the one in the car was the dick. That's all I'm saying. So recently I got this complaint from work from one of the customers that I had to deal with. And, well, not really a complaint. It was more like a suggestion, because he wasn't going up to the manager and being like, hey, this person. You know, it was more like a suggestion. They had a survey, and one of the customers I had to deal with filled out the survey and said I did a good job, but that I was really serious, that I should smile more. And from my understanding, that's sexual harassment, because I heard some things. A good thing about being on a podcast and not being in school anymore is that you don't have to cite shit. So I just heard some things. I don't know how true they are. Supposedly those things said that if you tell a girl to smile more in the workplace, that could be considered sexual harassment. So shouldn't it work the same way in my favor? Like, me being a guy? Like, shouldn't I be able to be like, hey, you guys are sexually harassing me because you guys are telling me to smile, and I don't want to smile, and you're telling me what to do with my body. I don't want another man telling me what to do with my body, motherfucker. And why do I gotta smile more? Ain't nothing sunny on this side, motherfucker. Why do I gotta smile more? Like, what kind of jackass just stands around? Like, I don't even talk to these people. What kind of jackass just stands around smiling all day? Like, if you seen somebody just on the sidewalk, just smiling, just standing there, you would want nothing to do with that guy. You would walk to the other side of the street to avoid that weirdo just smiling and standing there. I mean, I would. I don't know how many people of you would, but I would be like, nah, that guy looks like he's got something planned. I'd walk to the other side. I'd jaywalk to the other side, because I'm a fucking rebel, and I don't pay attention to no goddamn crosswalk. Son. Son. We ain't about that crosswalk life. We walking on the edge. We jaywalking. Oh, man. That's one of the dumbest fucking laws that they got. Jaywalking. It's like, you mean if no cars are coming, if no car is within sight, I can't just cross this street? Nope. It's against the law. You gotta walk in between those little two white lines that depict a little red version of you to tell you when you can walk. And wait, no, he's white, right? Yeah, it's a little white version of you whenever you walk, and a red hand whenever you can't walk. Because that's how they keep us controlled. That's how the government keeps us controlled. It's with them crosswalks. They know that once you start being trained on when and where you can walk, that your mind is easily subdued to other things. That's my conspiracy segment for the Toker Talk Tuesday podcast. I need to get more used to saying that shit because I'm going to be saying it a lot. I told you I'm going to be doing this shit every fucking Tuesday. At least I'm going to try. If I have capability to do it, I'm going to be doing it every Tuesday. And I'm going to be trying to write some shit every week for that Tuesday. Because I care about this podcast. And I'm going to be trying to do a good damn job. Son, I'm going to make podcasts great again. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm not even going to tell you how I'm going to do it. Because there is no need for plans anymore. Because this is Trump's America, boy. Now get out of my country. I'm just kidding. My fucking back hurts though. Well, it's not really my back. It's more like my nalga muscle. I think that's how you would explain it. Because it's not technically like my lower back, but it's kind of on the left side. Kind of like on my butt cheek and my leg. And it hurts. I have no idea what happened. I'm just hurting all the goddamn time. Like, I feel like I'm too young to be in this much pain. Like, my back hurts. My knees are hurting. My neck hurts. I'm tired. I'm always fucking hungry. I always got a lot of shit wrong with me. Maybe I just need to get in better shape. I lost weight. I don't know if I talked about that last podcast. Yeah, right, because I remember calling myself a fat fuck. I lost weight, but I still feel like I'm not in good shape. Like, I still won't take off my shirt in public because I'm fat. I still feel like I'm fat. I wish I had some pictures to show like the progress, like before and after, like those P90X commercials or the diet pill commercials that they used to have back in the 90s, whenever you could just advertise shit without providing any proof. Those were the good old days. The clapper. And then your fucking light would turn on. Like if you ever walk out barefoot from your from your bed and it hears your feet slap the tile, if you have tile in your bed for whatever reason, because you're a weirdo and you like to have tile in your bedroom. If it hears your feet on the tile, like just, I'm pretty sure that bitch would turn on. And that would be kind of annoying because you don't want to lose the tire whenever you just got to get up to pee. That would suck. I wouldn't want the clapper. I would want a Snuggie. That's what they're called, right? The Snuggie? The one where you wear like a robe backwards, basically. Basically just a backwards robe. And you could just, sleep in it. I would want one of those. I'd probably stink it up though. I'd be wearing it for a couple days because it's so comfortable. It looks fucking comfortable. Like a fucking blanket that's just there, just holding you. It's a little hug by a blanket. That's nice. Ah, man, it's been a pretty long night today. I had to go to a homeboy's house. And I found out that Windows 10 doesn't accept executable files. For people out there that don't know what an executable file is, it's a thing that you download whenever you want to install a program, a software on your computer. Well, it's the thing that you open whenever you want to install it. And for whatever reason, Windows 10 doesn't let you install it like that. Which I think is some bullshit. They're just finding new ways and better ways to stop you from getting free software. Like, that's just mean. Because they charge way too much for the software. Like, you get your money back the first 2 times that somebody buys that software. The rest is just all profit. Like, you don't need to make that much fucking profit just because you sat there and learned how to write script. Ooh, whatever. No, that's just actually hard. I remember I used to try to do that shit back in high school. And it was pretty fucking hard. It was kind of cool though. Cause you could like sit there and write things, and then the computer would do the things that you would write. Like, you would have to, it was a really long process. You would have to write the word. Like, if a number is entered, multiply it by the second number entered, and you will display the answer. Basically, all I learned how to do was a simple calculator. And that's all the software coding I knew how to do. I don't even know how to do it anymore. It's just been fucking years. I don't really remember anything I learned in school. Well, that's a lie. I remember a decent amount. But I never use anything I was taught in school except for basic math. Because even whenever I pay taxes, it's all basic math. Percentages, adding, subtracting, dividing. All that shit. We could have just stopped school in 4th grade and been alright. Maybe. Some people could have. Other people are going to college and still ain't going to be alright. Because they don't know how to think. Oh, my stomach. See, that's why you don't make food decisions whenever you're high. Because then you just punish yourself because you have no controlling mechanisms. You just act on impulse, and then you just eat a whole bunch of shit that doesn't go good together, but it tastes amazing, and it just doesn't settle. Ow, my tummy. That's how Fez says it. Fez from that 70s show, which is an extremely racist stereotype. It's funny, but it's racist. But nobody ever complains about it. Well, I guess there's always a racist stereotype on a lot of shows, a lot of my favorite shows. See, is racism such a bad thing? Like, cause sometimes it's fucking funny. Like, you gotta admit, sometimes stereotyping is fucking hilarious. Like, if you just see those people with the dots on their forehead, you know they're gonna sound like Apu from The Simpsons. And it's funny, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just funny. Like, if they're speaking English, you expect one of them to be like, my friend. Or be like, thank you, come again. Like, it's just expected. And it's not bad racism. Maybe there's good racism and there's bad racism. Good racism is the thing that allows, well, good racism is the things like like black people having big dicks. Like, that's good racism. That's the good side of, racism to be on. Bad racism, gay. That's life. You got your ups and your downs. You got your black and your white. No, that's racist too. Y'all know what I'm saying. You got your nuances in between all that. I know I'm gonna get shit. One day this shit's gonna come back up. One day, whenever I'm trying to do something important, they're gonna bring back episode 2 of your Toker Talk Tuesday podcast where no one was fucking listening, and they're gonna quote you saying there's good racism and there's bad racism. Oh man, I already know that's gonna happen. It's gonna be in the newspaper. Somebody's gonna be tweeting about it. Some blogger's gonna blog about it. And somehow it's gonna get tweeted at me if there's still a Twitter. If there's still a world, we're probably just gonna be living in the internet. It's gonna be no more physical world. It's just gonna be pure internet. That's what we're gonna be living in. It's gonna be the Matrix, people. I could totally see that happening. Just the Matrix, just being real. And then people that are disconnected from the Matrix are going to be fighting giant metal squids. Because anything that Keanu Reeves stars in is bound to be true. It just is. Like John Wick. I know there's going to be some 45-year-old long-haired white guy one day seeking revenge. And he's going to be a total badass. That movie was alright. It had no storyline. It was just all a whole bunch of pretty cool fighting scenes. I miss the old, like, Japanese, Chinese sword fighting, flying through the sky for like 3 minutes with no extra propulsion. Like, they don't kick themselves off of buildings. They're not jumping off of trees. They jump once and they fly for 25 feet, which makes me get curious. Like, do they think that this is how high they jump? Is it an exaggeration? Did they at one point were they able to jump like this? Because how come they never won at the Olympics in basketball? Or have they? I don't know. I didn't Google this before the rant. Maybe I should Google it after. Nah, I ain't got time for it. But yeah, man. Good racism and bad racism. That's what I'm gonna title this this podcast. Oh man, I'm gonna get so much shit for that. But y'all know what I mean, man. Like, if you see a Mexican guy, it's racist to think that he knows where the good tacos are. But it's good racism because he probably does. He probably knows where to get some bomb-ass tacos. And that's good racism. He'd be like, hey, you're wearing construction boots. And you got a mustache and you're wearing a plaid shirt, a long sleeve plaid shirt that's got drywall mud on it. Where can I find some good tacos? And he's gonna tell you, he's gonna be like, if you go over to the right, it's gonna be in a little blue shelter. See, that's racist, and I'm Mexican. But it's good racism because it's fucking funny. But nobody comes to my defense, assholes. That's why I work at Home Depot. Because it's genetic. Like, birds fly south during winter. Penguins mate for life. And Mexicans work at Home Depot. At one point in their life. It's not all the time. It's not our careers. But typically speaking, we do work with some type of construction in our life. The real ones do, at least. They got all these little fake Mexicans with their little fucking mohawks and brat tails and man buns. I'm getting worried for this next generation. I already said that, right? I think I said that last podcast. I was getting worried about this generation doing some weird shit. But I wonder if every generation feels like that. Like, I'm pretty sure, because my parents were always like, why are you wearing your pants so baggy? Pull your pants up. Don't be listening to rap music. It's nothing but drugs and gangsters and shit. and criminal stuff. I'm pretty sure that happens with every generation. Hates the one that follows it because it's not exactly the same, which is kind of dumb. But I mean, I guess it makes sense because I don't like this new generation. And I could see it, just my generation was better. I just know that to be fact. The generation where we got crunk in the clubs and stomped the motherfucker out, throwing bows because that's what the song said. That generation was better than this one. I'm pretty sure of it. Things change though, man. Things always changing. That's the one thing about life, is things are always changing. The only thing that doesn't change is this bitch ass headphone jack keeps fucking up on me, and I'm over here trying to mess with it, trying to make it sound like I'm not doing shit, but it keeps fucking with me. I'm about to punch in this goddamn headphone jack face. Stop being a little bitch. It's already hard enough to sit here and make shit up to talk about. I don't need you fucking interrupting my damn brain space. You know what? It's getting fucking hot in here, man. It's getting hot. It's the middle of fucking summer in Texas, and I'm over here in the metal fucking shed, and I can't turn on the AC because you'll hear that bitch on the fucking podcast, and I don't want to be rude. So I'd rather sit out here in discomfort for you guys because I love you guys, even though there's nobody listening to this damn podcast. You know what I should do? I should probably take a hit. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pause this bitch and I'm gonna take a couple hits because it's fucking hot. Okay, I'm back, people. So if I sound a little bit nasally, I'm sorry. If you hear my lisp come out a little bit more, I'm sorry. Because I got Cottonmouth, and for whatever reason, whenever I take a couple hits, my nose gets stuffed. If anybody has any information on why that happens to me, because I haven't Googled it and I don't feel like Googling it. If anybody has any information on why that happens to me, could y'all email me, please? I need to get an email for this. If y'all could message me on YouTube, that'd be nice. Because I still haven't set up an email for this podcast yet, which I should. Which should have been one of the first things I did. But I'm stupid, so I don't prepare. So I'm going to do that. Next podcast, that's going to be my goal for this week. It's not really a great goal, but I'm going to do that this following week. I'm going to get me an email for the podcast. That way people can email me. So if anybody happens to listen to this, they could email me and tell me, be like, yeah, it's because you smoke and then your nasal cavities react to the smoke because it's damn, I just had the word for it. I don't remember the word for it. The thing that bothers it. It's an irritant. That's the fucking word for it. It's an irritant, so your nasal cavities close up because it's not used to having it, and that's why your nose gets stuffy whenever you smoke weed or whatever. Something like that. Watch somebody just quote that and write it back to me. That'd be pretty cool, because it'd be like a transcript. It'd be like having to go to court but without the consequences, you know? Just... that's what happens in court. The stenographer, they sit there and read back everything that, you know, was said and write it down. I've never understood those keyboards. Have you ever seen those keyboards that they use, the little typewriters? There's like 8 buttons on there, and they just make complete sentences using those 8 buttons. I'm like, damn, how the fuck does that work? And why don't I have that on my laptop? Because it seems a lot quicker. Because whenever you're listening to the little court thing, it's not like they're slowing down or the typewriter person's like, I'm sorry, I didn't get that last part. Can you repeat that, please? They're just sitting there and they're hitting buttons and they get the whole conversation. I cannot do that with the keyboard. I don't think anybody could do that with the keyboard. I don't even think Siri could do that shit because she's gonna misplace or misspell and confuse like 18 words throughout the whole fucking court throughout one sentence because it never gets it right. That's what's gonna happen. Like, how the fuck do they write that quick? And why don't I have it on my laptop? Why don't I have that on my phone? Something that I could just hit a couple buttons and it creates whole sentences to me. And why do we have a whole alphabet if that person can make a whole conversation with 8 buttons? I don't get it. This world befuddles me. I heard that there's another type of keyboard layout that is actually supposed to be like a lot more what's it called? Efficient. It's supposed to be a lot more efficient, and the only reason that we don't use it is because the one that we got is just more popular already, so they refuse to use the one that's more efficient. I don't know if that's true. I never googled any of it. I never bothered to look it up because it doesn't really affect my life like that, but it's cool to repeat. Right? Like if you told somebody that, at a party, they'd be like, wow, really? You think it's a conspiracy with the laptops and stuff? They're like, nah, man. We control these keyboards. And if they use the other keyboards that are too efficient, they're going to have too much time on their hands. Too much time on their hands means too much thinking. And too much thinking means revolution. We must keep these keyboards that they got as a sign of suppression. This is our world. Microsoft and Apple unite. You think that's how it is? Or am I just high as shit? I'm over here creating stories about Apple and Microsoft controlling the world. But they kind of do, though. You think about it, everybody either owns a Microsoft or an Apple. Like, what other computer companies are there? Like software companies, there's only those two. Or does anybody have like a, small computer company, a small local computer company that nobody knows about, to where the guy wrote his own software and stuff like that, and he's using his own operating system? Do you think that'd be able to be something that's true? Because what happened to capitalism in that situation, man? Because there's only two. That's a duopoly right there. Like, what happened to capitalism? Shouldn't there be other, operating systems competing in the market against these two? These big old giant corporations that are everywhere. They even got their hands on smartphones. Everyone has a smartphone. If they don't have a laptop, they have a smartphone. Even if they have a laptop, they have a smartphone. Everyone has a freaking smartphone. Well, a lot of people do. There's some people that are like, nah, I want my flip phone because I like to throw rocks and catch my food. And I like to live in the primitive ages back whenever we had no high-def TV. I'm just kidding. Sometimes it's a lot more simpler. Like, I catch myself being addicted to my fucking phone. I'll be trying to look at people more in the eye whenever I have conversations with them, because I notice that's something that I do a lot, and it's rude. Rude. Like Bon Qui. Excuse me. Rude. But yeah, it is though. Like, you're over there trying to have a conversation and then you're over there checking your phone. That's rude. And it is. And I catch myself doing it. And I'm like, oh, damn, I'm such a piece of shit. And I am. And you are too. Because you do it too. And we're all pieces of shit. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. There's no capitalism in the phones. That's why you should plan shit out, people. Don't deviate from your subjects. There's no capitalism in phones. There's two of them, and there's nobody else trying to challenge them. And next thing you know, it's gonna be like Skynet. They're gonna Microsoft and Apple are gonna join, and they're gonna make Skynet, and everybody's gonna be fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger, because that's what the movies told me. Man, you high as shit? Are you as high as I am? Then order this company here. We are so and so company. Look at me, I'm making up my own ads. Should I make up my own ads? We are Fresh Knife Company, where we deliver fresh food to your house every single day. And you pick out what you actually want. We don't tell you that you can pick out what you want and then not actually give you what you want. And whenever you say that you don't want things, replace it with some nasty bullshit food. No, we actually give you menu what you want food. And we will give you this food within 1 day of delivery of selecting your choice. Oh man, I'm gonna have to edit that out. That's what happens whenever you're stoned and shit. You just sit there and you start making up your own ads. It's terrible. It's terrible. Oh man. Oh, that stupid chair. My back hurts. What else am I gonna complain about? What else is there to complain about? I haven't even really been watching the news. I've been way too freaking busy trying to get some side money, because I haven't told anyone I'm gonna quit Home Depot yet, and I still got bills to pay. So they're gonna be like, oh, how are you gonna make this money? How are you gonna save up for your car after your lease is up? Don't worry about it. I'll figure something out, because I usually always do. I hope. I could fall flat on my face. I hope not. But if it happens, it happens, and I learned a lesson. But what's fucked up is I involved other people. See, that's why you shouldn't involve other people ever. Because then you owe it to them to, be right on your part for certain things. So if you can, if it's possible, do it yourself. Because then if you fuck up, it's just like, oh well, I fucked up. But if you fuck up and you have other people relying on you for you not to fuck up, then you gotta, make it work somehow. And that's kind of selfish thinking, but I mean, it makes sense. It's not really that selfish. It makes sense though, because you'll be tied down to do something that you don't want to do because another person's relying on you to do right. Right? Yeah. So that's the position that I'm in. I involved somebody else, which I didn't want to, because I knew that just in case things, got to its worst point, I could just, fuck myself up. But my dumbass decided to involve other people, and now I gotta make it work. I gotta make it work one way or another. But I think everything happens for a reason, because if I didn't have this, I wouldn't have the, hunger or necessity to move on with what it is I need to be doing. I'm being super vague right now because I don't feel comfortable putting all of my business out there, even though I haven't even told you my real name, and I didn't really even tell you none of my backstory. I just came up here and I just fucking started talking to people. I didn't even introduce myself or nothing. I just sat here and I started talking in front of a fucking microphone. Oh, rude. There goes Bon Kui Kui again. That lady was hilarious. I love Mad TV. Well, I love certain sketches of theirs. It wasn't all great, but they were really funny. The ones that they did have that were good were amazing. I hear that about SNL too. They're like, the ones that they did have that were good were amazing. But the rest is kind of like 22 seasons of whatever. They've been on the air a long fucking time. Can you imagine creating something that lives longer than most dogs? I don't know how any of that shit made sense. I was pretty sure I was gonna have a better fucking comparison than that. But that's all that came out was fucking dogs. No, could you like imagine creating a show or a piece of art that remained relevant for a college kid's entire life? Like, that's a quarter of a lifetime right there that show's been on, I think. I haven't Googled this shit either. I don't Google shit because I ain't got time. I barely even had time to write down topics for this damn show. But yet, here I am doing it. I've been talking for however long I've been talking for. Last time I made the mistake of actually giving it time, and then I had to edit some shit out. So if you actually pay attention, like, the time that I said it was obviously not the time that I said it at, according to what I uploaded. But whatever. I'm learning. That's what happens. You live and you learn. You make mistakes and you learn. Like right now, I'm making mistakes, but I'm learning. And I hope I learn a lot quicker. Because I need shit to happen. Because I don't have enough time. Because I don't have another reason. But I do. Oh, I know. I do have another reason. Because I'm tired of being in the goddamn situation that I'm in right now. It's annoying. I don't want to work anymore. That's what I figured out. That's what conclusion I've been coming to as of lately. I don't want to work anymore. I want to do something with my life to where I just go and do stuff for fun and get paid for it. That's the type of position, that's the type of life that I want. That shit, to me, is how you live. That's the true definition of living. Because you can't live working at Home Depot. And that sounds like a great song title for a death metal band. But you can't, you know? You can't really be happy at one of these dead-end, you know, employee retail jobs. Well, I mean, you probably can. There's some people that might find satisfaction in it. But that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad that they find satisfaction in that. Like, who's extremely happy at Walmart? Who, as a little kid, was asked, and what do you want to be when you grow up? And was like, I want to be a Walmart greeter, sir. Like, I don't think anybody said that. And if they did, I'd be like, wow, your parents didn't teach you any confidence or any aspiration. Let me tell you what these words mean. Nah, I'm kidding. But that, I've never heard that. Like, I've never heard anybody say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then be like, I want to work in receiving at Home Depot. Like, you always hear, like, astronaut or singer or cowboy. I might just be talking about 4-year-old kids here, but you get what I'm saying. Like, people don't aspire for these, you know, retail jobs or even fast food. People would want to be like, oh, I want to be a great chef. I would want to be a great chef because I could eat my food. Or I could eat my food right now because I'm a good cook. But could you imagine being a great chef and eating what you cook? Like, you're like, I make some good ass food, and then you're eating it and you're like, oh, this is some good ass food. That's great, and you ain't got to pay for it other than what you paid to get the food. But you don't got to pay the 18,000% markup just because you got a fancy freaking plate and they only gave you half of the portion size. I don't know why they do that. Why do you got to pay more to get less? Like at them fancy restaurants, it'd be like $300 and you get 1/4 inch of meat and it's drizzled with some sauce, and then it's got like 3 cilantro sprigs, and it's like $250, please. It's fucking ridiculous. And people will do that too just because they want to experience the finer things or whatever, or they just got too much money and too much time and no creativity. I'm sorry, I'm getting Cottonmouth like a motherfucker. The back of my throat is all parched. This is a good and a bad idea. A podcast while you're high, because you come up with some really weird shit, but your throat pays for it. Pause. That was a really long pause between that pause because I had to kind of analyze what I said there. But yeah, man, it's fun. I don't want to sit there and work for a living. I want to be able to do something that I enjoy and make a living doing something that I enjoy. That to me is a life worth living. Not to say that, no, yeah, I am trying to say that. Because it kind of sucks whenever you miserable every single day of your life. I don't want to do that shit. I'm scared of being, I don't want to live till like I'm 80. Like 75 to where I can still be mobile, and do shit for myself. I don't want to be 75 on my deathbed. And, looking back on my life and being like, damn, this shit sucked. I want to work every single day from 8 to, 5, and I hated every single day of it. And I didn't do shit that was fun. Yeah, I made some people that look kind of like me, but this shit wasn't really that fun. I guess a family, I don't know, maybe my perspective might change with the family. Maybe that's what it is. I just don't got a family. Well, I have a family, but I haven't made kids that look like me. I haven't made little me's yet. One day I might. Well, I want to. I don't know why. That's ego. That's ego in everybody. Wanting to make little versions of you just because they look like you and shit. That's selfish. That's why we're overpopulated, and that's why our ozone is depleting, and that's why I'm gonna start carrying sunblock, because even though I'm dark skinned, I can still get burnt. That shit hurts. I don't get burned as quick. I just look like, Mayan, but I don't get burned as quick. And if I do get burnt, I heal pretty decently. So, you're light skinned and you get burnt. That's weird though. That's another thing. People, they just want to divide us. I don't know who's they. It's not like there's a freaking society or something being like light skinned people gotta hate dark skinned people. But it is like some kind of systemic, some kind of, I don't know, grand agreement like across everywhere, that dark-skinned people are somehow beneath lighter-skinned people. Is it white people's fault? They just took over everything, over all the nice places, and then they just made everyone feel like shit. Is that what happened? The white devil thing. That's what they say. That's what black people say, at least. White devil. I don't get it. I'm like, why white devil? Like, doesn't matter what color the devil is, because that's just racist too. Damn, why am I talking about race so much on this podcast? It's weird. Oh man, it's been fun though. It was fun. How long have I been on this? That's not bad. I guess I will wrap this up. This has been the Toker Talk Tuesday podcast, and I ran out of shit to talk about. Well, I probably could keep going, but I'm kind of tired, and I gotta wake up early tomorrow because it is 4 o'clock in the fucking morning, and I'm in the back and I'm still recording. Hey, I knew my fade at 13. Hey, that true shit is what I live and breathe. I shit on your favorite MC, and I'm just starting. I still ain't P. Seem like a beat coming or whatever. That's whatever. Anyways, this has been the Toker Talk Tuesday podcast. This is episode number 2. Episode number 2. And I will try to come even more prepared next week. Hopefully I will keep getting better at this shit. Hopefully next podcast will be better than this one. I'm signing off. This is your boy Ro, RHO. Look me up. Hit me up on Twitter at Ro Official, because they wouldn't let me put official Ro because they didn't think I was really officially Ro. And I am. So good night, or good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this podcast. But please join us next week as I continue to do the Toker Talk Tuesday podcast. Yeah.